It's something I want to press Howard on. Nuruddin mentioned you're in rights management as an industry, the three of you guys here. And you all nodded in agreement when CI Plus was mentioned, which we advocate as a good move for the industry. This brings us on to standards per se. What type of standards are there? And as markets, as we know, where the standards in markets, that's why they rapidly take off and evolve and really flourish. What do you think are going to be the standards for content protection? Can there be? Will there be, for example, the DECE and the ultraviolet brands?
This is, I mean, how much time do we have?
As much time as you wish.
I think that that obviously standards have a place, and they've, we all know that and have benefited from standards such as DVB over the years, where a common set of APIs and its interoperability has really worked enormously well for everybody in the industry. I think attempts in the past to standardize DRM or standardize CA and I think is fraught with problems. I think when it comes to security, the whole nature of security in the TV industry is, how do you keep a secret? How do you make sure that if there is a problem in one market or on one device, that it doesn't domino on every device? And I think that is ultimately when you have one authority that is going to be responsible for licensing and for ensuring robustness and compliance. Often you're effectively doing away with responsibility, and as a security company, we take responsibility. And we stand by our security, and I think that is the ultimate weakness in standardizing DRM in terms of your question. Having said that, there are many players out there that either through enormous market presence or through good packaging, such as DCE or other standards that have a play in that market, and we're being asked by our customers, for example, DCE in the US, and we will support that, and we will incorporate that into our offer. But it's in some ways DRM is almost a $0 billion business, right? It's like, in some ways, we'll give away the DRM because we want to, particular players want to try and enable the market. On the other hand, again, it comes back to how am I going to ensure that a service is being provided that is reliable and works for all the players in that ecosystem. So. To give you the short answer of, it's yes, there are standards, they have a place, they can be implemented and are being. I mean, in terms of NDS, we do embrace them, but I don't think it answers every question.
So I'll throw that back at you. You mentioned standards. Will there ever be a GSM for?
Yes, Y-axis, DRM everywhere, of course. No, I mean, just kidding. I mean, there is need for standards for interoperability because at the end, content has to be made available over a number of devices.
But as a DRM provider, you can provide that interoperability.
Yeah,
I mean, you can support multiple DRMs or means for delivering content in different formats.
That's exactly what.
I don't see that has to.
No. I mean, I don't think the standard has to apply to DRM as such, because that's the area where there is a need for. Also be reactive enough for pay TV and content service provider and give them control over their business model and over the technology they need to drive their business. You mentioned DECE and ultraviolet. It's not a unique standard there. They are mentioning a number of there, and this is going to even there. It's about interoperability between solutions.
It is.
It's not. And even such initiatives are, ultraviolet is pushing a given business model, which is electronic sell-through. Not all our customers and content service provider are willing to do only electronic sell-through. They want to be flexible on business model. So there is clearly no benefit from having a unique DRM standard because of the reason that's recalled, which are dealing with life cycle of security that's naturally not consistent with the time it requires to upgrade standards, etc. and also because to give the freedom for pay TV and content service providers to deploy their business model and differentiate the offer, they require solutions that are end user centric and operator centric, that more than a standard that unify the experience and the offering for everyone.
Which could mention this, what stand do you think a standard can emerge go?
I don't know. I think it's a very hard task to find someone who will take the real responsibility to create a standard for the DRM. Or it's not hard to find anyone that want to do it, but to find something similar to the DVB forum that actually will make the standard as a non-profit organization, because many of the initiatives that we actually see, like the DECE and such things, they are kind of bundled with the business model for the consortium itself, and that makes it kind of a little bit harder to use it as a standard. And one of the big challenges with DRM is what Howard is touching here. This is zero, it's no money business, and not big money in providing DRM systems right now, and everyone is doing that to protect also content that has not really high volume and high value. So it's not a big business to provide the DRM system for anyone.
But in some ways, the whole OTT business is emerging, and I think right now you could certainly consider that to be niche, or a way of doing catch up, and really maybe reinventing rental. Reinventing the sort of on demand into sort of an OTT rental type of model.
But I think here,
and it will change.
Here we can have a role, because we then could present security solution that will make more valuable content available. Because what we see now is that the content available at the on-demand platforms doesn't really have a value, because it's launched at the same time as the DVD is launched, then it's more or less available for everyone.
Which is
anyway.
the chicken and egg argument. Until the security is there, the high value content will come.
Yeah, but this is.
But Netflix in the US have made a very attractive business. They've just reached 20 million subscribers, and I think they've shown that there is a market for people to have on demand in on PC, on multiple devices, and I think they're doing a good job. They've shown that there is that value in that, and so I don't think it should be seen by any traditional pay TV operator as a threat, as long as they understand that this is happening and they can really leverage it.